Hi, everyone. Welcome. This is the VR Fitness Summit. I'm here today with Yinch Yeap. Um, yeah, today's topic, we're going to be talking about the science of VR. Now, it's a very broad topic, and we'll talk about a lot, but Yinch, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Yinch Yeap. Thanks for the introduction, Spencer, and I'm the founder of the fitness resort, maker of the WebXR fitness experience, HoverFit.
Awesome, awesome. And just so everyone knows, I've known Yinch for a while now. He's awesome, genius in this space. But really glad to be talking today. And yeah, I mean, I have some questions here prepared, and we'll kind of just dig right into it. But first question I had was, how much real world science and data goes into the original concept of HoverFit, or any other projects that you've worked on? But how much of that also evolved based on users' behavior?
The design of HoverFit has always been guided by being a fitness-first experience. The designer of the game is a Olympic athlete, and therefore it's very much driven by what he has found to work in terms of his own training, in terms of the rehab training that he's guided other athletes through, and with clients that use him for PT training. So our design is very much guided by what is known from actual workouts, actual fitness experiences, non-VR things, basically like physical gyms. And we also previously worked together on a separate project, which is a non-VR project, which was a treadmill ski machine that let people practice the ski muscles in preparation for the ski season.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me, I know Tim was supposed to join us today, wasn't able to make it, but yeah, a little bit more about that. I know he brought a really strong background in being an Olympic skier, and then you guys kind of melted your minds a little bit in those two projects, right? So like you worked with a lot of athletes, you worked together on developing these two projects. What was like the scientific approach that you guys took? Obviously, um, there is a lot that goes into designing those different products, but like, what kind of approach did you guys take on that?
Being led by fitness, we created exercises on the original project called SkiFit 365, which is our earlier VR project. And before that, we worked on a treadmill project called the Body Carver. And through all these three projects, Body Carver, SkiFit 365, and now HoverFit, we've always worked outwards from building like a whole body workout, which is our goal. Things that are it aims to be low impact, then it aims to be high intensity. It aims to be fun as well as all these things, and really working together. Although HoverFit is our first fully formed fitness product, we have worked together on other fitness applications, including non-VR fitness applications. And we're always led by trying to build muscle groups, trying to build cardiovascular strength, trying to build endurance. So lots of the stuff that we're designing is really guided by how to make a good workout first, and making like a game second, if that makes sense. So it's not that we thought like let's attach some fitness on top of an experience. We basically set out to make a workout experience and then like gamified it.
Mm, gotcha. Yeah, you go with the fitness first, and that's really hard to do in VR, right? You have a couple inputs with the head movement and the controllers, but like you mentioned, a full body workout that I'm sure that was really hard to figure out.
Yes, we tried lots of things. I remember the early prototypes that we were working on. We were experimenting with all sorts of um, curious ways of making yourself move forward while building muscle, ways of steering. I mean, in the very early prototypes, you tried all sorts of things that made you go up and down and turn around, and all sorts of things that made you feel queasy. But we went through, I think, about probably 12 locomotion models before we settled on this one.
Wow.
And besides the control system, we were also very aware that that frame rate or motion sickness was going to be a major issue. And I think one of our achievements with HoverFit is that we have found ways to reduce motion sickness by involving the whole body in the motion and also trying to keep the frame rate like really, really high. So our team, our dev team, I mean, they do all sorts of amazing things, but one of the most amazing things is how they continue to try to maintain a high level of performance in terms of frame rate, despite delivering such a complex environment.
Wow, that's really burning the candle at both ends. 12 different iterations too. That's
Yeah.
that's insane.
It
Uh,
was, yes, because you're trying to get it right. And I think that nothing beats actually trying it out. And because of the team we had, we were able to do experiments like relatively cheaply, and find out what worked and what didn't work. And as we discovered stuff that we discovered along the way. For instance, the locomotion system worked fine when the environment wasn't too complex, but as it got complex and the frame rate started to fall, then the original locomotion system posed new problems, and so we were always adapting the control system according to what we discovered as we built the game out. We didn't create like the final design that says, oh, we just have to deliver that design. All successful design in this space, because it's so young, needs to iterate. It just needs to. You just find stuff up as you go along, and then you find ways around it, find ways to make it good, find ways to make it better.
yeah, I know as a dev, it can be really easy to get into your own echo chamber of thinking, oh yeah, like I've got all this down. But you at least had Tim as a really good guinea
Yes.
pig a lot,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a big lab rat, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to another question. Was there anything that you learned that was kind of unexpected from any of that data as you were developing this? Like users getting stronger, calmer, or healthier in ways that you maybe didn't anticipate?
This is more a thing we discovered when working on the body cover, but we're starting to see it a little bit in the HoverFit as well now, which is that we set the highest level of difficulty pretty high. We thought was, like nobody's going to use level 6. Level 6 is like a, it'll kill you sort of level. But when we actually deployed it, the people using the equipment and using the experiences absolutely cranked it to the very top and said, "Oh, this isn't hard enough." So we found this. So on our treadmill experience, we had people doing tucks and turns on a treadmill while skiing, basically on the treadmill, and we had it on like we had 6 levels of difficulty, and at the highest level of difficulty, which they used for like 35 minutes, like for a long time, they started wearing 20-kilo weighted vests as part of the training because it wasn't hard enough. And this was in a low altitude chamber as well, like a low pressure, low oxygen chamber. And these people
Wow.
were like, so the thing that we discovered was that the people who use the equipment use it in a very extreme way, in a way that you don't predict. So that was an interesting finding that we never made it hard enough. We didn't expect that.
Your power users were a lot more
Yes,
powerful than you thought.
absolutely.
Oh, totally. Um, yeah, and I mean, you are designing something for a wide range of different users. Like, tell me a little bit more about new users that came to try it out, and like what kinds of things you learned from them.
The thing we discovered is that there that finding the right audience was like critically important. That for the people who got it, who understood, why this existed and the way we designed it, they engaged with it like fully. So the people either used it and tried it once and bounced off, but the people who got it, they use it like every day. They use it 10, 15 minutes a day. They meet up with friends in it because we've also made a social. We've also provide multiplayer within HoverFit.
Oh,
So we have a group of users who meet every day and basically exercise together, like a Peloton class or a spin class. So we didn't expect that the multi-user would become so important, and that we didn't expect that we thought that there would be like low users, casual users, and high users, but basically there's like low users and high users and like nothing in between. So no middle ground. Either you love it or you don't, right? It's kind of thing. And the people who love it, they absolutely, absolutely love it. We're talking like averaging 500 squats a day, that sort of number.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I know a little bit about this, but I'd love you to tell the audience about, some of the tracking that you have in HoverFit of like, because those that are going into VR for fitness are, wanting to see how much it's improving. And you have different ways of tracking how people are getting a workout in there, and trying to provide them with as much of the science behind it as you can. Can you speak a little bit more on that?
Within the game, we provide three major axes of metrics that they can observe. We are very keen for them to build up lifetime, monthly and weekly and daily goals, basically. And so the idea is that they can see the numbers going up every day. They can see their weekly numbers going up. They can see the monthly going up. And so the three axes we measure are fit points, which map very loosely to calories. It's not calories, but it's like the amount of exercise you do. We also measure squats, which is how many squats you do. And we also measure duration, how long you've been playing. And these are the three axes. And to encourage people to do lots of squats, we've actually created a monthly squat challenge with a leaderboard, so you can see what everybody else is doing. And I'm on the leaderboard. I can't catch any. I can't catch the top 5 people, but you can see. You can also tell that you also know that people know you didn't do your squats. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, keeping each other accountable.
Exactly. So it's
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, that's sort of like a group effect of like I don't like having your metrics be accountable is pretty funny, really. It does alter your behavior. I mean, Tim is a athlete guy, but I'm just like your average computer
yeah,
basically. I'm very indoorsy, but I use HoverFit, and I have done days with 500 squats a day, so I have myself, which I was surprised that I had it in myself.
yeah. As a dev, or just anyone in this space, sometimes you can spend a lot of time in your chair. So,
Absolutely.
you're having to go in and test a lot and do a lot of squats and
It's
get up.
it's one of the unusual side effects of working on HoverFit or any fitness app is that you have to do like stretches after debugging. Which,
It's very
which generally
unique.
doesn't happen, but yes. So you can only do so much debugging in a day because after that your legs are just shot.
You gotta hire beefy QA, right? People that are all fit.
Exactly.
That kind of leads into another question that I had is, like, and this could be before HoverFit too, but like, what has VR taught you, anything about your own habits and fitness and health since either building these games or just since like being in this space?
I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but having HoverFit be published at hover.fit, I found myself using it in a way that I didn't expect myself to. The real breakthrough came when we introduced the daily goal system. The daily goal system lets you earn medals, bronze, silver, gold, or platinum medals on these three axes I mentioned of fit points, squats, and in fact laps for the last one. And I found that the daily goals sort of like match my motivational framework. I wear a Fitbit, so I'm used to trying to hit the 10. I used to be obsessed with my 10,000 steps. I remember one time, in terms of chasing daily goal, I was working all day. I remember the Saturday. I was working all day Saturday, and I reached. It was 10 p.m. or something on Saturday night, and I had worked. I'd been working so much that day. I had only done 1,500 steps, and my daily target was 10,000 steps. So I did static walking on the spot, like in my living room, watching Pearl Harbor, and I reached 10,000 steps. I mean, I had to like, I was, anyway, so chasing a goal and having like a daily target is like really, really motivating. And I found myself engaging with the product much more once we put the daily goals in. So this is one of the ideas of the iterative designs which is informed from other places like Fitbit, but also implemented in our system to like align with the way that we measure progress within the game.
Mm. Hey, you guys even have a feature that's kind of like a Fitbit, a little watch in game to
Yes, we
show
do.
some of
Yeah,
those
there's like a
stats, right?
smartwatch. That's right.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I wonder too, I mean you've been able to see a lot of different user journeys. You mentioned you've got daily players, people that are really dedicated to this game. Do you have a favorite moment that sticks out to you, or like a favorite experience from a user that's described kind of the journey or benefits that they've gotten from playing HoverFit?
It's a curious thing, but one of my favorite stories is how the group of fitness users that meet together on HoverFit, one of them, they live very far away from each other. They are in a fitness group that they would never be together in real life. And so the fact that people can connect and find like-minded friends from across the country or across the globe is like really special to me. The idea that you can make fitness social, I think that's like one of my favorite things about it. Not just the fitness, and some people have different fitness expectations. Some people like doing fitness solo, but if you need to, if you want to meet with friends, you can, whatever the weather. You just need an internet connection, and you can be there. And so you can basically run a class you can be in a fitness group with like 5 other people. We have full body tracking, we have voice, we have spatial voice. So it's all there. It's like an MMO. It's like an MMO. It's no M, just MO. Technically, it's not massive. It's only 6 people. But the idea that you can socialize, meet, decide to go to different places. We have social modes like tag and roam as well. You just want to catch. The squads still count, by the way. We still count your squads if you do roam and tag. But people tend to do race, is what we found. And I was surprised, and I was very pleased to discover that the users were doing it daily. They were meeting daily. There was a time. They said, okay, 3:45, I'll be in this room. Meet you guys there. Which was like, and this was like routine, and that they had worked it into the daily habit. That was an absolute joy. That was a joy.
Oh, I love that. It's like if you build it, they will come, and you
You
they
hope.
they establish it themselves. They figure out
Yes.
you add in the aspects of, hey, this is a
Yes.
good workout, and there's social elements to it. You can play in a really structured way, like race, or those other modes like just roaming around and still getting a very physical experience and kind of a surprise workout, which is like a very common term in VR, right? Like
Uh,
because of how active it is, you get a lot of surprise workouts. But um, I'm curious. We've had a lot of breakthroughs in both hardware and software in VR in the past few years, and even outside of VR, some things that are going at breakneck speed when it comes to AI or like the directions that we're moving with technology. What do you see as kind of some of the most exciting breakthroughs happening in the next few years and especially in regards for VR fitness and wellness?
um, I think that the direction that the modern web has set is going to also come to fitness, which is increasingly the idea of personalization in one's fitness journey. I think that the way that traditional fitness works, where there's like a fixed program and this is this or that there is, and you just follow the fixed program. I think it will slowly evolve into things which are designed to suit your needs. And it's happened. Like you go to YouTube, right? It shows you the videos you want to see. You go to Instagram, you see the posts you want to see. You go to Amazon, it shows you the stuff that you're likely to buy. And so I think that kind of recommendation system, uh, will come into fitness, so that you can basically, think about Duolingo. I mean, you think of the way how Duolingo works versus the way how a language school works. In language school, you sit in a classroom, you go at the same speed, whatever the teacher says the speed is. It's in fixed moments in time. If you miss it, you miss it. You can't chop and change it the way you like. And so I think fitness will become highly personalized, and I think that AI will have some part to play in that personalization. But the data that we are capturing now can already produce personalization. It already can. We're not doing everything we can with the stuff we have. I mean, within VR, I'm hoping that headsets get lighter, because I suppose a bit of weight loading is all right, but it's just a little bit sweaty in the headset. So
Yes.
I'm hoping for headsets which are lighter, that breathe well. It's already got much lighter. I started on VR, on PC VR, where the headsets were absolutely monsters and massive PC next to it. So I mean, I love the Quest 3. It's a beautiful piece of equipment. And I think that the hardware has come such a long way. and within what the current hardware already can do, there's lots of things which we haven't fully exploited in the software space yet, which is a call to arms for developers really to try out new ideas, to not keep making the same things over and over again, because this space is an exciting new space, and many wars and battles are left to be won in this space, and we should absolutely behave like it's not over. It's barely started. It is how I think it's going.
No, I agree. It's and just like you said, it has come a long way too. I mean, I remember when all VR was tethered, and like a lot of the active like exercise apps that exist now just would not work in that type of format. So the fact that we have standalone VR now has
Yes.
helped a lot, but that form factor getting smaller and smaller will just make it better. I definitely agree. And I also really look forward to that because I do really enjoy working out in VR, but sometimes that headset is so heavy or like you have to have it so tight on your face that you come out with that bandit mask at the end of it, you know?
You do. You're always trying. You're always trying to trade off staying cool enough and staying immersed. It's just. I hope it'll get lighter. I think it's already come like a super long way, and I know that if there are lots of new things to try out, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the fact that it's web based, but lots of other stuff just has ended up on the web. Just it started all separate and stuff. And I know with mobile things that move on to that. But I think that in VR, especially, I think VR and probably AR and mixed reality stuff will become like the more primary medium of people consuming stuff. Because with the phones, right? We say, oh, the phone is really great, and don't get me wrong, it's really great, but the screen is like so small, right? In the rest of the world, you're trying to make your monitors bigger, you're trying to make your laptops bigger, you're trying to make your screens bigger, and phones are like, oh, it's this big, and we go like, oh, I suppose that's all right. I'll just squint, right? And really, with the promise of like all day AR glasses, then you can have a screen as big as 360 basically. And so
Mm.
I think we are living with a compromised design in smartphones at the moment. And so if we can find a way to make it so that we can be hands-free and it's not like a tiny screen. I feel the tiny screen because I'm not like a young man like you, Spencer. So I notice when the screen is small.
I do have the max size phone.
Yes.
And like I have to because when it's too small, I feel like my fingers are so big I can't really interact with it. But I do enjoy that about mixed reality too, being able to like put on my headset and watch a movie while I cook or do something like that, and just have the screen as big as I want. When I miss a movie in the movie theaters, I'll watch it in a giant screen, and fully immerse myself in that way. And I think with I'd used fitness apps on my phone before that kind of give
Oh,
you the workout, but that can be really powerful when that workout is all around you.
oh.
And mixed reality and virtual reality is such a good format for that, um, now and in the future, really. So,
I'm actually one of the things that is an important discovery is how designing VR experiences is much closer to designing physical experiences than it is to designing screen-based games. So although it's using like GPUs and all the WebGL stack and all the GL stuff, and it's very easy to kind of think, oh well, our wisdom, our knowledge, our guidance should come from how we've been making screen games because it's on the same hardware as the screen hardware, except it's two little screens. But really, when designing VR, it's very important to acknowledge it's much more like designing a theater set or a theme park ride or a LARP experience or a gym or landscaping or because you're designing physical spaces. It is experienced spatially, and so although we can't just lift the wisdom of 2D digital graphics design with us, we can draw from architecture, interior design, product design to guide how we make VR stuff. So we are switching we're switching Yodas to, for want of a better description. The way there was a way of doing it, the old way, as it were, and it looks like we should just continue the old way. But lots of things don't transfer. The whole thing with motion sickness means that lots of first-person shooters don't work that well. The idea that using like a little laser pointer to do everything is like a waste of two 6-stop controllers and a 6-stop camera. What are you doing, mouse pointer? Just play it on the screen, man. So I think VR need one. I'm very excited about how VR designers start being informed by, or we start attracting spatial designers to use VR as their medium. So it's like kind of a exploitation of or capitalizing or maximizing what the technology that exists can do, rather than saying, oh, I can't do anything until you give me another 50 million triangles. I don't believe that's true. I think that there is a tendency, I think that's a little bit of an excuse. I think we've been given lots of triangles already, and I'm not going to make any excuses about trying to make our 3 million triangles work as hard as possible. And we are guided by spatial designers, really, really. And so Tim, his experience running a gym and designing the physical treadmill did a lot to inform how we design our VR experience.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, you mentioned 12 different iterations, and I'm sure like you learn a lot during that of like, hey, this is how we make this more of an optimal experience that feels more like a physical experience, because that is the difference, right, between flat and VR is like you have to make it feel more physical, like
Yes.
especially something that is movement based and exercise, and you're trying to be as active as possible. It has to feel physical in every way that you can.
So one interesting variation, like deviation that we had in the design of our core experience, the fitness experience, is that it was a strong design choice to make it so that once the race started, that there were no buttons to press. You didn't have to press the button. So you press the button that says, I'm ready, and after that, it's all just motion tracked. There isn't, you don't have to press any buttons, because you're doing exercise. You're not trying to remember what. So all the steering is done by head positioning. All the movement is done by squatting and hand motion. So no buttons. And from a game, like, if you're a traditional console designer person, it's like, what kind of game can happen with no buttons? That's impossible, right? So fundamentally, just even our input system is like VR first. So things like that really, I think was the right choice. That you're never thinking about, oh, have I got my thumb in the right place? I think you're just working on the workout itself.
That sounds like my actual workout, but the button I press to start is my music. Just press play.
Yes.
But got time for about one more question here, and I think this is a good one to end on. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about VR and the headsets, especially for those who've never really tried it or never really gotten into it. What is a myth or misconception about VR fitness that you wish you could bust?
Great question. I think that VR fitness might be caught in the shadow of a general misconception people have about VR being for games only, right? So I think that that people have a tendency to not treat VR as a medium, right? So, like if you think about televisions or magazines or television is probably the best example, or YouTube. You don't think, I mean, if you thought YouTube only played kids programs, right, you wouldn't take it seriously. Somebody says, hey, you can do a workout on like Nickelodeon or Nick Jr. They say, oh, it's for kids, right? So this isn't for me, this is for kids, right? And I think that VR is not for kids. I absolutely believe that the impact of VR on human society is the same as the printing press. It is the beginning of a new way of communicating. That is my absolute belief in it. And so I think one of the misconceptions people have about VR fitness and probably VR in general, that it is for games. Because it's so very hard as a game console. I mean, it has lots of console language around it. A lot of the big titles are like, we've brought console titles like Assassin's Creed and Resident Evil and some other, can't remember now, into VR and said, oh, well, this is what we are just used to do, and so we just continue doing the same thing. And really, I would like people to treat VR like seriously as a piece of equipment for communicating. Just like your smartphone, you expect your smartphone to do lots of things, not just play
Mm-hmm.
games, right? You expect it to be a calendar, you expect it to be your movie player, you expect it to be your telephone, your camera, just like not just a phone, right? I think VR has can absolutely do as big a range, not exactly the same range, as big a range of things as a phone can do. It, people just have treat it that way. For
Hmm.
instance, I've done some of the best quality audio I've heard on WhatsApp is in the headset. The WhatsApp app in the Quest, it has fantastic. I think it's like 24-bit sound. Like it's absolutely beautiful quality of sound. And so that's the beginning of the headset taking over from the phone. It's only really just beginning. I use Discord in the headset. I watch movies in the headset. So it's taking, it's starting to happen. And the fitness stuff is happening. So it doesn't just displace digital activities, it also starts to displace physical activities. And that's really interesting. So a VR headset isn't just the extension of digital capabilities, it's actually a substitution of some physical activity as well. And I think that's like super interesting. Super interesting.
Yeah, I love that, and that's one of the reasons for this whole VR Fitness Summit is this intersection between um, digital formats of things, but the physical element of VR and how it can kind of bridge those two worlds in a very unique way. And I very much agree. And what it comes down to is a lot of people like you making things out there that that you can experience that bridge of technologies and ways of interacting with each other. It truly is a vehicle rather than just a platform, right?
It absolutely. I describe it as being like a medium, because it's a medium, because you can do all sorts of stuff in it. And I really think that when VR gets into full flight, it will change the shape of the shape of society. I think watch this space. It will happen. I'm just kind of. It's a question like how soon it happens. I know it'll happen because I've seen it. I've seen it working basically. It
Yeah.
made me exercise, which I never thought possible. So there we are.
Yeah. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Awesome. Well, Yinch, thank you so much for joining me today. This is a really, really fun session.